Mr. Cargo is that what this government has heavily dependent, and this not to just this government alone, even the past government, and most governments, as a matter of fact, within the continent of Africa, which is a shame, really. But since na Salone they talk, but make us sit down and Salone, is the fact that they will write lofty excuses and show as to why at this particular term they cannot not function, double negation there, they cannot not function because if IMF not give them some disbursement. And then we see happen last week. Where we get all of them data there, we get all of them numbers there. The very IMF, make I tell you, with man no go come on in country can make you country for you. You want pull your country, then go help you pull in whichever way you decide for pull. Because guess what? Their priority is to make theirs better. They themselves are suffering right now. They themselves they go through physical stress situations. They themselves they go through a lot of difficulties. Then themselves they go through high inflation. They themselves the how they call them the interest rates them not stable right now like how it used to be stable. So they also have their own stressors that they are dealing with. So if you decide for misbehave and not handle your own stressors and they abop no more and give me no, put for me no, they will continue to put for you. So long as they have some pocket, some wiggle room, some basket fund somewhere where they can pull it from and put for you, because you are not with it and you do not want to be with it. And when they talk to you, then bring straight talk cantona. What they do? The Holmes, the head of mission or the special envoy, they write letter, make them take them go back. Because waiting and they say not satisfy with you, not agree with you now. Because one for always they get, always they collect. That is what happened in Sierra Leone last week. Like I said, they work inside, they work in international development. And I also they work in communication. As a matter of fact, I'm very fortunate to be practicing both concurrently at the same time. Not all my way study something. They will practice all team way study at the same time. But I'm lucky in that aspect. So what happened to una right now where I am sorry to say this, but some of we gullible brothers and sisters that we say that they support political party, they jump, yay! IMF don't give it 20 million, release, yay! If you only knew. If you only knew that money is not towards your edification, but it is towards your detriment. If you understand the unfolding, the intricacies, the complexities of all the money then they, and waiting in mean, and why nations, especially nations like Sierra Leone, for strive, not for constantly they go to IMF and the World Bank for good return. Now you they jubilate. Oh, the president they work, they do well. See, if we not been there, you see, I God, aye. May God make God open, make it expand. We craniums them. We modula obligatas them. Make it expand them. Make we think beyond. And talk something proper. This argument are
interrupt you quick. La interrupt you quick though, because this now warning. Somebody be don't watch VOS and he say what they talk big English them. It be one time they watch with in granny and in granny end up for cry. So dear beg no make other person granny cry. So dear, for break time now for people left. Because the granny will say the boss in the insult time. So dear, I beg. I just want to let you reduce for people there. But anyways, continue. I just want for make a light moment out of it. But it's very serious.
It's like,
Go ahead. Sorry for
they
interrupting.
say the granny cry. Dear mama, I don't want make you cry. Me now you grand pikin, no cry. Dear big man, no cry. You are not make no granny cry now. Yeah. So as a matter of fact, I am the daughter of all the mama and the granny them. You wouldn't imagine how many messages I can get. Oh, my mother loves you. She always watches you. She's always praying for you. And by the way, even as I say this, for those of you who've never met me, you've only seen me through this medium, and you can put your knees on the ground and say, Abba, Father, protect and watch over her. May God watch over you and yours. But what I be the try for say is that this why also where the fans thinking they can clap. Yeah, if the president not been they do well, if the administration not been they do well, they're not being for. Don't disburse this much, this much, this much. But let me tell you something. In international development, we have what we call strategic release and strategic how you call it strategic partnership. It means for say some money then the way then they keep in a corner, where then they disburse, then they put them there intentionally because they know it is to come. Why make them they do that? They don't want to make a country go into so much of a dry spell. Especially, make I tell you something. Sierra Leone still is considered a fragile state in many international development sphere. And within many developed countries, Sierra Leone is still considered, they still consider Salone as a fragile state, right? Because we not don't show stringent discipline, we not don't show say really we are with it. So sometimes they can put them mechanisms that they in place, then get basket funds them, where the big five and other people they were able to contribute inside. For make them release the stressors, that way they una no go calm, they not go be obligated for send peace builders then go over to una, for they send international relief go over to una, for they go make a release for make them do how they call it fundraising, international fundraising, or for bring rescue, do a rescue mission to the nation. So they get all the layers of strategies the way they can they apply. So when they can they disburse some of them money, so not because Salone is doing well, not because the indicators and numbers of Salone, they USA is supposed for they and they are pleased with it and they are saying, oh, you know what, whew, we can blow our affair right now. No, it's a banded mechanism so they can keep the country afloat so there will not be a cataclysm. I don't know how else to break them down to now. That is all how I can break. So when you see this money being heavily disbursed or these funds being released last minute, especially by the IMF and by the World Bank, don't jubilate. Trust me, don't jubilate. Mr. Kago, continue.
Yeah, I just want thank you for that. Again, I just want to make it clear the difference between way it in the GTT report, why IMF suspend the release of additional funds to the then Coma administration. Now, because IMF, anytime they give them money, they don't want for let you to go to them frequently, so that they ask you for restructure. So for make some adjustments where the thing will cause for let you go to them, let that thing they now continue for they create that situation where you will need IMF assistance. So part of the requirement them for let them disburse the additional money where they be done promise. So again, now a fund we then call extended the one way the then people in the gladi for I go come day. But again, then call them extended credit facility. It just tell like way you get your bank account.
Mr. Kago,
But yes,
Mr. Kago, make I not cut you what they are. The one thing I
yes.
want for say with their extended credit facilities they are so is that many a times these governments hope also once they've utilized these funds and their economies are not doing well, which they intentionally sometimes do, then they apply for debt relief. And then they will tell you, say,
Well,
now
that
carry on.
yeah, yeah. Then they self get conditions. Then they make for, and again, waiting and do they be suppose for don't come back to IMF the conditions the IMF give them for restructure. So they say, okay, well, for right now, we there at dire situation. They use the Ukraine situation and say, well, we're not able for do the restructuring it. We want for let una extend the time. So now IMF say, okay, because of the country, it is like how you say rightfully say, that they look at the situation of the country. So even where the conditions then where IMF be put initially, they not be meet that conditions then they because I just show una the spending is still reckless under the previous administration, under this administration. So, but because of the I want to use peculiar, but because of the situation really tough. So IMF don't extend, say, okay, well, we will come back, we don't do the review and everything. Yes, the country still need help. So we go give now up until November of 2023 for like una put in place reforms them where go make we glad for una. I dey talk about plain Creole. So una know wetin this mean? Where JJ Safa, somebody talk by the way, say let VOS invite JJ Safa. Mr. Safa, you're welcome. You can even call right now and challenge me. Say let we make JJ Safa explain how it will fix the economy in 3 months. Given waiting I know, then again now another false promise. Because you look at the trajectory.
I don't know
You look
why
at
politicians like for constantly they put Botona, Sierra Leone and their aid. Until
because
them put Botona people their aid. Why?
but, but you remember, Madam Matilda, you be get a guest on Thursday. We say one thing. It say Salone people them they vote based on tribe, region, and then canteen and they vote on the issues. They vote on the person incompetence. They vote on even for whatever reason. It put on brilliantly. That's the Professor Kande. It put on Jimmy Kande. It put on brilliantly. It said people and they do this thing where in the end they even hurt themselves. And that's how terrible with politics in a salon. How you go so vote for a political party because you feel say majority of your tribe they support that party day because your parents them support that party day because that party they predominantly the stronghold in your region and then you they suffer think for it tranga hey bro so now that kind and a clear description of waiting they go on right now. So again, you look at that IMF thing. This Dear Abeg una share this message. I won't left until the end, but let not forget. Eti GTT una all they feel say austerity na bad word. We go see austerity after whether na President Bio Wino, Samora Wino for let IMF after November for let IMF release additional money. I think they don't release 20 point something million for now. For let them release additional money on a get for cut big time on our policies them. They
Yeah.
even they even won. I go show now maybe in the end. They even won the Bank of Salone. Say in need for stop for the trust the government money. If
Mm-hmm.
they want for less Salone stay afloat.
Mm-hmm.
So this not to guess. This now based on IMF projection. Salone una brace una self for austerity inside 2013 and 23. Not to next year, but after the election, after November. Maybe, again, I say maybe if a new administration come in, this is not a campaign, oh, this is not the reality. If a new
Yeah.
administration come in, maybe that administration they go advocate for extension. Maybe, but this administration they don't ask for extension, IMF don't extend them till November of 2023. If they're not cut down, they use the word contractionary policy. What do you mean?
Yeah. It means
It
for
means
cut am, pata, cut am.
exactly. So you get like that bloated wage bill again for calm down, and plenty of the other programs the way they promise fiti fata. And this brings me to that question where you ask, how realistic it be for them program here, where they promise, and not realistic at all. Who said they pull the money? And Salone not get that opportunity for go trust money on the side, apart from IMF, World Bank, because like Ghana, them be don't establish that situation whereby they restructure themselves and they're able to go to the stock market. The
Yes.
government sell government security because now that way the government can trust money na the stock market. Wetin that they mean? It means say government get a paper where it is say all this paper, this na promissory note. This paper then get different maturity. Maturity meaning the tell where them go take them back to you from you.
Now like
So
book. Make I just
yes,
break am down to them. That paper there, the security na like book. Like when they
yes.
say you carry book go to person. Say look me book. This na me book. If I not give you this thing by so term, look me book. Now like guarantee for make you get wetin you want forget.
Yeah, well, in any case, in addition to what you say, so this paper, they say, I promise, say, I go pay you back the full amount, what we call principal, after 5 years, if not 5 year security. It can be 1 year. In fact, it can start from 1 month. It can be 3 months. It can be 1 year. It can be 2 year, 3 year, 5 year, 7, 10 years. We get them now. Yeah. So then they put the time and say, yeah, this, and I will pay you interest by the money where you did pay for this paper. So that interest, I will pay them every 6 months. That's so it work. So now that make them talk about say for manage the debt. So now some of them thing in the way you get for they pay the interest before the money are mature. Before you finally pay the person in original money where it trusts you, you get for the pay interest. So they call them debt servicing. So then interest here, you they service the debt. So imagine if IMF stop, they suspend this extended credit facility. Who side the government get for trust for fulfill all their lofty promises here. They not get clean record for go like how Ghana can go na the stock market and go give them paper here and take money from investors them where anybody any side of the world go able for say, okay, well, I'll buy this security because Salone government will get the act together and I dey expect say the country economy go revamp. I go expect say something go dey go well where revenue go increase. So then go able for fulfill the obligation. Remember that promise. Say I go pay you interest and then after whatever maturity time, I go pay you the full money wey you trust to me. If you no get confidence, say that person where they can take you money, they go pay you back. You go trust am? Absolutely not. So Salon no get that good name. Given the way where the economy the way where the government them from Bio now take calm down to President Kaba. Because again, na the new democracy. And not get that kind prestige there for let people able to trust the government. So the government it get limited room for trust money. So which is why IMF they say for let we continue for trust you, where we self one for assure get the assurance say you go to pay interest per the money where you they take, you therefore cut down on certain things then. So when I see how gladdy gladdy like how Matilda say, gladdy gladdy not for the party so. We for they ask the government now, if we not spend the money, who sound go pull money for service the debt. During that time when I get for pay interest only. And interest rates don't go up. Who sound go pull money? So you see Usai make us say, wetin make us say, Salon are so sorry for me people them, really. It's so sad. But then therefore brace themselves for austerity. Austerity simply mean you cut down your spending, and while you dey do that, you get for prioritize programs them. Certain programs then they will you not get for able to do because the money not in it. Now that the austerity mean. So a thing them they feel saying a bad word, but it come. If the government want for avoid that and need for begin now, I know say they're not going to do them before the election, gonna 2 weeks, less than 2 weeks, but me fumble them, gonna not be fooled by SLPP, even APC. Unfortunately, and they put the word unfortunately, if Samoa Kamara win, the way how President Koma and then President Bio, they recklessly don't push the country into so much debt. Samoa Kamara, Dr. Samoa Kamara, it gets small room for develop that country there. It get for take a long time. So again, like I say, if not a president Bio, any other president possibly go win. The only leverage we go get is for appeal to IMF say, okay, well, una give it time. And other people are where they owe because then go we get domestic debt as well, whether they go to commercial bank and stuff like that. By the way, while are they at this? The other sad reality is we don't even know waiting na the current reserve of the country.
Because
We
we
don't
don't
know.
have any right.
Exactly. So the Auditor General will for look into all lentil and day, how do they spend? Waiting happen. They don't suspend them. And the supporters them appalling supporters of SLPP for long feel say that then a good move. By the way, allow remind you now, where the government be take over just after we then sworn in President Bill. The GTT report, most of waiting and claim where they write for that report day. Now from the Auditor General report.
Yeah.
So if the Auditor General report una believe say is very, very good for all APC accountable, why enough for good for una if really una they claim say una fiscally responsible, una transparent, una not corrupt? Why? Because that particular institution there na in the eye for the Salone people them. Now in there for expose una. And if una read the GTT report, then give President Koroma kudos. When na him pass a bill and say the Auditor General report, therefore make am public, therefore publish am, and then commend them for that. But look what will happen now. Like how you say, they make exclusion the person where them put the say for take over the former, well, I'm not going to say former, but the suspended Auditor General. So, for audit the office of the president, not for audit the office of the vice president, not for audit the office of the first lady, me fumble them. Than they as Salone person force, not as SLPP supporter, as Salone person force. Than they for sweet you, say somebody they just spend you money and say let nobody not check them. Hey, but me fumble them. La appeal to our conscience. Una put the country first, not to just for say am. So whether now you papa, now the president, this kind way where things then they go so, and not good for the country at all. I go pause there.
The thing is that that word